The Hard Count is presented by BetMGM. As y'all know by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this college football season. We'll be using their lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for all of you each week. Now, when you join BetMGM, you get access to a variety of parlay selection features like same-game parlays, live betting options, and more. If you haven't signed up yet for BetMGM, use bonus code HARDCOUNT, and you'll get up to $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. 1, download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code HARDCOUNT. 2, deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. Step 3, you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use bonus code HARDCOUNT when you sign up. Let's make this college football season 1 for the books. Let's make it legendary. Let's get to the show. Welcome into the Hard Count, the show for college football fans to understand people can change. Your quarterback can change from week 1. If he doesn't look great against Ohio State, yeah, you'll catch some flack on Twitter. Yeah, you'll have some publications say he's the first flop in college football history. However, us on this show and you watching the show, you understand that things and people and teams can change, and the college football playoff rankings are a testament to that. It is Thursday, November 6th. 2025, last one on the face of the planet, as always presented by BetMGM. So we got the college football playoff rankings on Tuesday night, had a little bit to sit with them, and I think the best way for us to move forward from those college football playoff rankings is talk about what they mean. And what they mean for a lot of us is optimism, hope. It's spring's eternal. I know it's not spring, but you hear where I'm coming from. The best way for us to break this down, I think, when it comes to the so what do they mean, because they're going to play a lot of games, a lot still has to happen, but what they mean, I think, again, is optimism. So how optimistic should you feel based on where your team was ranked in those first rankings? We'll unpack that right now in our first ever, Cato, Optimism Tiers. First tier up, we'll start from the most optimistic and work our way down. We're looking at flights. You're already checking what the weather looks like in any given city that your team could potentially end up at when it comes to playing in the college football playoff. If you're in this tier, you think you could get a bye. Maybe you're hosting a game if things don't break your way, but that's the whole point of this thing. You're looking at flights for the college football playoff. That's Indiana, that's Ohio State, that's A&M, all three of those teams undefeated, and then Ole Miss. Nobody that tough left on your schedule to play. I don't think you're flinching too much left, who you have left on the schedule for you. Alabama also in this tier for me. Reason being, Alabama, you could lose to Oklahoma, and I think your ranked wins you've had already and how good you've looked at this point in the season, 10-2 Alabama, I think, is getting in. Now, I don't think 10-2 is just the fast pass that it was a year ago to get in the college football playoff, but Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, all should be looking at flights when it comes to your college football playoff aspirations. Now, this next team has a tier of its own. It's Georgia. Georgia is the tier. You're a Georgia fan, you're saying, wait, we have one loss. Why aren't we in the looking at flights category? Because I love you, and I think you've been awesome, and I think you're going to make the college football playoff, but my trust is a little bit spent. Wait, your trust is spent? What does that mean? I've spent all my trust believing you're going to go blow the doors off of X, Y, and Z team, and you go play with your food for a couple of quarters, looking at you in the Florida game, looking at you in the Auburn game. Like, it's been a little bit of a tough season on the heart if you're a Georgia fan, because you're sweating out these games in the second half and watch your team go down 21-7 in the first quarter against Tennessee, watching Tennessee's kicker miss a field goal that could have beat you in Knoxville, and you're like, hey, we're really flying close to the sun here. So I think Georgia's going to make the college football playoff. I think Georgia has been one of the best teams in college football. I have zero issue with where they're ranked. But Georgia is not in the looking at flights category. Georgia's going to make the playoff. I believe that. But Georgia is in their own tier. It is the Georgia tier. It's a Kirby Smart thing. It's a traits thing. It doesn't make a lot of sense all the time. You don't apologize for that. You're going to make the college football playoff as it stands right now. Georgia has their own tier. Now, this next tier is a fun one. This next tier is in the dating scene right now. And they are all currently trying to date Destiny. All of them right now actually believe they have a date with Destiny. BYU, Texas Tech, Oregon, Virginia, and Texas, of all teams, currently control their own destiny when it comes to the college football playoff. BYU, pretty straightforward, undefeated. Now you're saying, JD, you've been a BYU naysayer for the last couple of weeks. Yes, I hear where you're coming from. Contrary to what my blue eyes and blonde hair would imply about my belief in BYU, I have been a little bit doubtful of the Cougars, but listen, they're undefeated. You go into Lubbock and you beat Texas Tech, feel even better about your chances to make the college football playoff. Also, let's be real. You could lose to Texas Tech, get to Jerry World with one loss, win the Big 12, and you're in the college football playoff. I think even a one-loss BYU team, should they play for the conference title, with all the madness and chaos we've got over the course of this season, I think a one-loss regular season BYU team, whether they win the Big 12 or not, that might just be good enough to make the college football playoff. Same deal with Texas Tech. Texas Tech ideally wins out the rest of the way if you're a Red Raider fan, but Texas Tech could go 10-2, make the Big 12 title game, win the Big 12, and they're still in. So Texas Tech very much so in control of their own destiny. Big one this weekend with College Game Day in Lubbock, so that'll be one to watch. Oregon, listen, you wish you were higher in these initial rankings. That was the surprise of these initial rankings to me, but listen, you don't lose again, you're in the playoff. Pretty straightforward. Virginia, I feel like the Paul Rudd meme right now, or the Paul Rudd clip that was making its way around social media, and still is to some degree. Hey, who would have thought? Not me. Virginia, you're unbeaten in conference play. Right now, you handle business, you win the ACC, you're in the freaking dance. Pretty straightforward. It's going to be a one-bid league as of now in the ACC, but you're that team right now. No apologies for it. And then Texas, yes, you lost week 1. Yes, the Florida loss makes us feel bad emotionally if we're a Texas fan, but here's the deal. You still control your own destiny. You can go win the SEC as it stands right now, Texas. Go beat Georgia. Set yourself up in a spot where you can go beat A&M. You play them at home to finish the season. You're a one-loss team in conference play. So if you go win the SEC, if you go handle business the rest of the way, you're in the college football playoff. If Texas even just goes and plays for the SEC, I think you feel pretty good about your chances to make the college football playoff. You'd like to win it, but if you can just play Alabama in that game in itself, I think you're probably feeling pretty decent about your chances to keep on rolling into the postseason. Now, this next tier, you feel good, not great. It's like that coworker you talk to a lot when you're over there getting coffee or checking the copy machine. How's life? How you doing? Good. Busy, but good. These teams are busy but good. They feel good, not great. Oklahoma, you're at the 12th spot. Still got to play Alabama. You got Texas blocking you. You're in the hunt. Zero apologies. You're in the hunt, but you don't feel amazing about your odds to make the college football playoff. Again, good, not great. Notre Dame, kind of the same deal. JD, Notre Dame was number 10 in these rankings. The entire college football world collectively lost their mind seeing them at 10. Well, what's their best win? What's their resume? I don't know. You don't apologize for it. You're number 10. We'll talk more about them here in just a matter of minutes when it comes to how we feel about Notre Dame and what these playoff rankings said about them. To give you a preview for that and to talk about them in this tier, you still got to make it look a little bit nasty here, Notre Dame, to feel good about your chances to make the playoff. I don't think it's so straightforward as, hey, Notre Dame, just win the rest of your games. You're in the dance. I don't think it's quite that cut and dry because Oklahoma and Texas have more meat on the bone on their schedule, more ahead of them to make up ground on you. So if Notre Dame's out here winning games by the skin of their teeth and the hair of their chinny chin chin, you're happy to win games, but I don't think it guarantees you a playoff spot. Good, not great. Now, this is the best way to group this together in this tier for good, not great. Any ACC team with one conference loss probably feels good, not great. Because Virginia is leading the charge right now with 0 conference losses. The ACC, you want to make the college football playoff as a team. In the ACC, you got to win the conference. No other way around that. So the teams in this tier of the ACC with one conference loss, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Louisville, SMU, and Duke. Yes, SMU and Duke all in the hunt right now when it comes to the ACC, even with them not being ranked at this point in time. Georgia Tech and Pitt are going to have their own tiebreaker. Louisville and SMU going to have their own tiebreaker. Duke, they lost to Georgia Tech, but they still play Virginia, the team that hasn't lost to conference play. So listen, break out the quadratic formula, break out your fancy calculators, your Texas Instrument 84s, whatever you got to do there, because this ACC title race is going to be absolutely madness. But you feel like if you have one conference loss right now in that conference, the ACC, you still have a chance. You feel good? I don't know if you feel great. Now, this next tier is a tier of one team. It's we beat Notre Dame. It's Miami. You were 18 in Tuesday's rankings. And everyone in Coral Gables is like, hang on a sec. How does this work? We have 2 losses. Notre Dame has 2 losses. We beat Notre Dame. They're at 10. We're at 18. Someone make this make sense to me. Ari Wasserman made a great point on his reaction show with Andy Staples. Another reason to be subscribed to this channel, y'all. I'm telling y'all, make sure you're locked in here. Great college football content across the board. Our show, Andy Staples and co. Ari Wasserman did a great job. But he said, I think you probably had to honor Louisville in some respect, with Louisville being at 15. So that tracks. But if you're a Miami fan, you're like, I don't understand this. Just get us to the end of the regular season with 2 losses. We're 10-2, do the head-to-head thing with Notre Dame, and just pray you find your way in. Wait, we beat Notre Dame is the tier there for Miami. Now, this next tier is really interesting, and this is kind of to round out this whole optimism tier segment. A year ago, 10-2 was the cutoff to make the college football playoff in the Big Ten and the SEC especially. Miami is still saying, wait, we went 10-2 last year, JD, we didn't get in. I know the rules are a little bit different for the ACC. I don't endorse that, it's just the way that it went. This year, I don't know that 10-2 gets you into the college football playoff, no questions asked. Now, there will be 10-2 teams in the college football playoff. I believe that. But I don't think it's quite as cut and dry. So this tier is the what could 10-2 get us? What would 10-2 get us? Is I guess the question you're asking. Because we're doing the math here, and we're not great with numbers, admittedly taken financial accounting multiple times. Just pass the class, JD. It is what it is. Look at the numbers here. There will be, as it stands right now, 4 teams from the SEC making the college football playoff. There will be 3 Big Ten teams, as it stands right now, making the college football playoff. So you're up to 7 teams. 2 Big 12 teams, looking like Texas Tech and BYU, so you're at 9. The ACC has to get a spot. You're at 10. The G5, the highest-ranked G5 team, has to get a spot. You're at 11. Notre Dame gets a spot at 10-2. That's 12. So look at all these teams that could finish 10-2 that may or may not find their way in. Michigan's the team that I think you feel the best about. Should you finish 10-2, getting in the playoff? I have a very hard time seeing that group of people in the room that just ranked Ohio State the number 1 team in college football, and deservedly so, I believe. If Michigan beats them at the end of the regular season, I don't think they're getting left out. That's how I feel about it. But there's also a conversation about USC. Hey, USC beat Michigan. If USC finishes 10-2 with a win over Oregon, do they find their way in the college football playoff? Everyone's having a discussion at 10-2 about them versus 10-2 Notre Dame. So that's the bat you're trying to cork here, for lack of a better phrasing. So I mentioned USC. They're a part of a tier within this tier of what could 10-2 get us. A lot of these teams at the end of the year are going to play Oregon. And Oregon, they got to finish with Iowa and Washington and USC. So could you bump a Oregon team out of the college football playoff with your 10-2 being better than, again, in this scenario, Oregon losing another game to either Iowa, USC, Washington? Do you get a chance to bump them out with the head-to-head? And is that good enough to get you into the college football playoff, catapult ahead of a Notre Dame team at 10? A lot of moving pieces. Roll with me here. This tier is made up of Michigan, who I already mentioned. They will not play Oregon. USC, Iowa, Washington. If they're going to go 10-2, that all goes through Oregon, right? Okay, so you look a little bit closer here. USC, again, would have a win over Oregon and Michigan. Not a bad resume. Iowa at 10-2 with a win over Oregon and played Indiana pretty tough. Okay, not bad at all. Washington, if they beat Oregon, they don't have quite as much meat on the bone when it comes to boosting their resume, but 10-2, Big Ten team, we'll see. Vanderbilt at 10-2 is another tier here, and they do not play Oregon, obviously. But the conversation with them getting the college football playoff is a little bit tricky because you need Tennessee to bring some juice to the table here. That's a win to finish the regular season you'd like to have where you feel good about your chances to then make the college football playoff as a 10-2 team. But I don't know if that's going to happen because Tennessee's hanging in there at 25, and they've already got 3 losses. Like, is that going to happen for you? I don't know. And you also still have to find a way to boost up the rest of your resume. Like that Missouri win, I don't know how that's going to age. And the committee is telling us that they're going to not freeze these wins when you get them, looking at Oregon with how that whole thing shook out. The LSU win isn't really aging all that well. So Vanderbilt's in a tricky spot. Missouri, if they finish 10-2, Vanderbilt's still blocking you. Like if Missouri and Vandy both finish 10-2, I don't think Missouri's jumping Vanderbilt to get in the college football playoff. Utah, you finish 10-2. You got to win your conference. Like I don't know how you're getting in the dance at 10-2. So this whole discussion around being 10-2 in the world of college football, especially for those teams in the Big Ten and the SEC, it used to be if you finish with that record, you're in the dance. I don't think that's the way it works this year, y'all. I don't. So this whole tier of what would 10-2 get us is made up of, to recap it here, Michigan, USC, Iowa, Washington, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Utah. You're trying to find a way to jump Notre Dame. And Notre Dame right now being at 10 tells me the committee has them in pole position if they get some good style points. So there's a lot there when it comes to these optimism tiers. We'll post a social graphic on my channels on Instagram and Twitter at JD PicKell if you want to get a more more close look at this thing. But to recap it, we're looking at flights. Indiana, Ohio State, A&M, Ole Miss, Bama. Georgia, you got your own tier. Date with Destiny, BYU and Texas Tech, Oregon, Virginia, Texas. Good, not great. Oklahoma, Notre Dame. Any team with one loss in the ACC in conference play. Wait, we beat Notre Dame. What's going on here? Miami, I hear you. You got your own tier. What would 10-2 get us? All those teams we already mentioned. So there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot going on. Make sure you're locked in here. We'll keep unpacking these rankings together as we go. But that's the optimism tiers for you and how I'd feel after those first rankings that we got on Tuesday. So Tuesday was awesome, and Tuesday I think gave us a lot to think about. And those first rankings are always interesting to me because I think it kind of sets a good framework for how we're going to view these teams in the month of November. And I just want to unpack a couple of things for these specific teams and how we can think about them here going forward. And Notre Dame got the most buzz after those first rankings because everyone's like, wait, they're number 10? Notre Dame, the team that lost to Miami, that has 2 losses. They're ahead of Oklahoma. They're ahead of Texas. Who have they beaten? What's their best win? And I get why people are saying that, and I think what they're saying is fair, but the framework going forward here, the outlook rather for Notre Dame into the month of November is you're going to need some style points. You got to have style points because teams behind you in Oklahoma and Texas, they have potential now to really have some style points and to jump you into getting the college football playoff. And also, all those teams that I mentioned, they're going to play Oregon. Oregon's ahead of you at 9. Let's go ahead and say that USC finds a way to finish 10-2. When they beat Oregon, they could jump you. So Notre Dame, if you win every game by 40 the rest of the way, you're in the college football playoff, but it's going to take a little bit of juice for you optically, based on what this committee is saying, to find your way into the college football playoff. You're not safe. You need style points. But here's my thing. For all the discussion around Notre Dame not being deserving of 10-2, I get it, because what's their best win? USC. What I think the committee is saying here, though, with Notre Dame being at number 10, they're using the same logic you would use when you're trying to, make a character call, a judgment call. How much do I trust you? Is I think what the committee is saying, and I think they're saying, hey, listen, Notre Dame, yeah, you haven't had this massive win that maybe some other teams on this ranking system have, but you haven't had these massive questions either. Like for me, I stand by In-N-Out Burger, dude. I do, and that will come with some heat depending on which region of the country you're in. But here's my thing with In-N-Out. They've never gotten my order wrong. I've never had bad service. I've never had this like massively annoying wait whenever I order there. Like I don't have a massive issue with anything ever at In-N-Out. Same deal with Notre Dame right now. Like what's the question for Notre Dame that makes you really feel terrible about them in the college football playoff conversation? What are you really questioning with them? Oh, but the win, the resume. Okay, I hear you, but like at a football level, do you feel terrible about C.J. Carr? You feel terrible about the defense? You really question that running back room? Question Marcus Freeman? I don't think so. Like for Texas, the team behind them at 11, you're like, there was a minute there we weren't even sure who Arch Manning was. You got people writing wild articles about my guy. And in some ways, like it was ridiculous, but there was a reason as to why those articles were being written because he hadn't played that well early on in the year. Oklahoma, same deal. The defense is like, man, well, you looked great against Michigan, but we don't know much about Michigan. You play one good offense and Ole Miss tears you up. Also, what's up with your quarterback? Who's he going to be this year? Like, there was a lot of like real questions you had that were pressing about those teams that are behind Notre Dame. So I think the trust factor for Notre Dame is there. Miami, yeah, I get that you beat Notre Dame, but like you lost to SMU. Like there's been some real deal, like frustrating situations here for other teams that are behind Notre Dame in these rankings. So does Notre Dame have the big win that makes you feel great about them? If it's USC, more power to you. It doesn't compare to what Oklahoma's done resume-wise or what Texas has done resume-wise. But I think the committee is saying we're watching the games, and Notre Dame, we trust you, therefore we have you at 10. So what I think you're seeing here, Notre Dame and their losses, there's no such thing as a good loss. But if I am in the mind of the committee, putting them at 10, they're saying, listen, we don't think it's a good loss, but we also see what you're doing in those losses. Like you should have, again, should have is a funny word, but you should have played a game in overtime with Texas A&M. Should have. Didn't happen. But we're not just going to dismiss it as, oh, you lost the game, so therefore you suck. No, you play the number 3 team in America, per our rankings, really freaking close, is what the committee is saying. Also, the whole deal with Miami, it was week 1. You had a quarterback making his first ever start, played him to a field goal game. we're giving you some credit here for the way those losses looked. And I think that's what the committee is saying there, having them at 10. So here's what Notre Dame has on their side. It's a very important thing when it's people making decisions here. Human nature is on the side of Notre Dame. Human nature. What do I mean by that? They've got some good faith with the committee because they made a run last year. And I understand it's a bunch of new people on the committee this year, but everybody on this committee watched college football. Everybody on this committee watched last year's college football playoff run that Notre Dame went on. Everybody on this committee knows who was in charge of that playoff run. It was Marcus freaking Freeman. Okay? That matters. You can tell me it doesn't. You can tell me they try to block it out. You can tell me they remove it from the equation. It's still human beings. They still know who Marcus Freeman is. They still know what he's capable of. Okay? In addition to that, when did these losses happen for Notre Dame? And I know we're going to say, well, the timing doesn't matter. Don't tell me. The timing matters. The timing matters. If Notre Dame had lost to A&M this past weekend, they would not have been in the top 15. I feel pretty strongly saying that. But Notre Dame has not lost since their second game. Again, human nature, the memory of when Notre Dame lost, a little bit more foggy than when Oklahoma lost to Ole Miss or when Texas lost to Florida. You see where I'm going with this. Human nature, when it's human beings making the call on the college football playoff committee, it's on the side of Notre Dame. So Notre Dame, you feel good, not great. You got to get some style points, but here's the thing. Human nature on your side. And also, I think the committee is saying, listen, we trust you. You haven't had any massive mess up, any massive issue to make me nervous about you. You haven't gotten my order wrong, haven't had bad service. Have you lost games? Sure. But I've had lesser questions about you than we've had over the course of this season about Texas, about Oklahoma, and the teams ranked behind Notre Dame. That is, I think, what the committee is saying with where they're putting the Fighting Irish. So let's roll on here. I think when we talk about some other things we can semi-confidently say, outlook-wise here going forward for these first college football playoff rankings, if it's about eye test, which the committee is saying it is about eye test, Ohio State is going to be number one, I think, until they play in the Big Ten title game. I don't have any massive game left. I understand Michigan's be a massive game, but until that game, I think Ohio State's going to be the number one seed in the college football playoff rankings all the way up until and through that game. And here's what I think is important to note. We have some real football sommeliers that are on the committee this year. This year's committee is not last year's committee. There are 5 new committee members. Last year was 13. This year we got 12. So darn near half the committee has been turned over. So if the rankings look and feel different and the numbers and the resumes and all that seems a little bit dialed down, it's because I believe they are. The committee is actually watching college football games, and Ohio State being number one is them saying, listen, we know that you beat Illinois by a smaller margin, but gosh dang it, that defense is impressive. But freak, man, when Julian Saint's pushing the ball downfield to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and the way it looks against Penn State, we value that. We value looking impressive. And so if that's the case, I think Ohio State's going to keep on doing that until the Michigan game. So Ohio State, they value how you look, and the committee understands that playing good football matters with how we rank you. And I, for one, appreciate that. But here's how does a team full of new pieces handle this is my question. Because what we said before the season was Ohio State, they won't be complacent because Julian Saint wasn't the quarterback for that national title run. 8 new starters on the defense. Brian Hartline, he got a ring. He wasn't the OC. He wasn't calling plays. That was Chip Kelly. Matt Patricia, he wasn't calling the defense last year. It was Jim Knowles. So all these dudes were hungry. But now you have a lot of young bucks that are in the front runner position, and they're not ranked anywhere besides number. There's not this team they're trying to chase. Ohio State is essentially playing Ohio State every week until Michigan. But here's the thing to watch for Ohio State. Here's the thing that needs to be said for them. They have an opportunity, those final 2 games they're going to play against Michigan and against Indiana, to drop the freaking mic. For the masses, yes. Hey, Ohio State, your resume, your analytics, who have you played, this, that, and the other. You beat Michigan and you beat Indiana. That will be a drop the mic situation for the rest of college football when it comes to the masses, the people watching your games, people like us on the mic that, in any given week could question Ohio State. We're not. We think they should be number one. I'm happy they were. But you will have a prove it moment at the end of the regular season, the Big Ten title game. If you beat Indiana, you beat Michigan, nobody's questioning, should Ohio State be number one in college football when it comes to that first that final playoff bracket, rather. That's all well and good. Maybe more importantly, though, Ohio State, you have a chance to drop the mic for anyone internally or maybe for yourself and prove, no, we are this team. yeah, were some new pieces. Yeah, you question the Texas win when you got it because Arch was also pretty green, and there was some things from Texas that didn't really look the way they're looking now, and so you kind of question that. But, like, I think it's important for Ohio State. If they can beat Michigan and they can win the Big Ten championship, this is verifiably a different team than what Ryan Day has had. Like, Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan. It's been well documented in 4 tries. Hasn't won the Big Ten in a minute here. If you go do both those things, you're puffing your chest out and saying, we are exactly who we thought we were. Y'all think whatever you want, but to have that confidence, that swagger of being the team that breaks the streak against Michigan, the team that wins the Big Ten again, I think that would go a very long way in solidifying Ohio State as the, no, we are who we think we are. And to have that edge to yourself going into the college football playoff of like, now we're the bad boys and we're about to go run over this thing, we're different this year, that is the exact juice I want my team having heading into the college football playoff. Believe that. All right, now Oregon. They still, per the committee now, don't have a quote-unquote good win by nature of them being ranked number 9. I personally disagree with that. But here's the thing with Oregon. Let's address this together. Penn State is not viewed as a good win in the eyes of the committee. If it was, Oregon would be higher than 9. But here's why I disagree. Why did everything go the way it went at Penn State? Why is James Franklin no longer the head coach there? JD, they lost to UCLA. They lost North. Yeah, I hear that. I understand that. I would receive that. But why did Penn State lose to UCLA in the first place? In my estimation, because Oregon broke them. Oregon beating Penn State set into motion a series of events that I think you trace back to that night in Happy Valley in whiteout conditions where Oregon wins that game in overtime. I don't buy it for a second that Penn State was always fraudulent or wasn't. Like, Penn State, what they brought back, who their quarterback is, what their head coach has proven he's been over the course of his career there, the second winningest head coach in Penn State history behind Joe Paterno, the running back. Like, there's not a bunch of questions you should have about Penn State. Penn State lost to UCLA because they lost to Oregon. If they beat Oregon, does Penn State? They're beating UCLA. They're beating Northwestern, and I don't want to hear anything otherwise. So that win should count for something, I think, when they got it. But if you're Oregon now, you're pumped that Iowa was ranked. Committee's saying, oh, well, Penn State, it's kind of fugazi, whatever, you lost to Indiana. Okay, well, Iowa's number 20. Okay, well, USC's number 19. Washington's 23. You play those 3 teams the last month of the season, you have a chance to boom in these rankings, in my estimation. So if I'm an Oregon fan, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy about the first exam grade. Not crazy about it. Like, all right, we got to be on the first exam grade. But the mission's still the same. The mission is still go win a national championship. Go make the college football playoff. Ideally, that order is reversed, but you hear where I'm coming from. You need to put yourself in a spot where you're a one-loss team anyway, likely, if you're Oregon, to be in the college football playoff. You got to win these games the rest of the way anyway if you're Oregon. So, yeah, you'd like to be higher. Yeah, you'd like to have some more respect from the committee. But I think if I'm Dan Lanning, I'm like, good. Like, you really think Dan Lanning's going to waste the committee putting them at 9 when they have 1 loss, being behind 2 Big 12 teams? Say what you want about BYU having 0 losses. I promise you, Dan Lanning will, if I know who Dan Lanning is, use that kind of quote-unquote disrespect, if I'm doing that as an Oregon fan through that lens, and he's going to use that to create some urgency. We hadn't really seen urgent Oregon yet. Go back to last year. Oregon was tightrope Oregon. Oregon was undefeated Oregon. Oregon was front-runner last year. They're not a front-runner right now. If I'm Dan Lanning, I'm saying they're already telling you they don't like you with 1 loss. You want to lose another one? You want to lose to USC? Lose to Iowa? Lose again, see what happens. Because 10-2, boys, might not be good enough this year. So I am excited to see how Oregon responds to this. And I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to track is how do they respond from the quote-unquote disrespect, again, assuming that's how it's received, the rest of the way here in this college football playoff run. Because Oregon, the mission's the same. It's not changing. But I can't wait to see what they do here down the stretch. Because Oregon, they got all the talent in the world. The personnel, I think the quarterback's a lot better than people are talking about right now. I believe wholeheartedly in Dan Lanning, but like it's on right now if you're the Ducks, being ranked number 9. So no good win, quote unquote, but either way, if you're Oregon, shrug it off, go handle business. And 11-1 after you lost to Indiana was the plan anyway. Onward. All right, so I got to talk about this really quick. We got John Mateer here in a matter of moments, so make sure you're locked in, make sure you're subscribed. But let's re-rack it here because I don't want this to be in the video for folks that are watching this as a one-off clip mentioning we have John Mateer, with it being Texas fans watching right now. Here's the deal. Texas fans, you could finish the highest ranked of any SEC team when it's all said and done. How wild is that? How wild? Like, that in itself is a hilarious thing to say out loud. So we did our tiers earlier in this show, Optimism Tiers, where we had Control Your Own Destiny, we had Good Not Great. I had Texas originally in the Good Not Great category because in my mind I'm like, well, Ohio State lost, not that great. Well, you lost to Florida. Okay, 2 lost Texas. Yeah, they still could find a way to make it in. On the outside looking in right now, I took a closer look at it. I'm like, no, Texas controls their own destiny. Texas, should they win out, will be in the college football playoff, 1. 2, they'll be the SEC champion, and they're going to get a bye in the college football playoff. That's all on the table for Texas. Now, is it going to happen? It's one thing to predict it, but I just think when you break it down and where Texas is right now, this has to be talked about. We left Texas for dead, a lot of us in the college football public, post-Florida loss. And you know what? We were right to, in old college football way of thinking. In the BCS and the 14 model, we were conditioned to leave them for dead, more or less. 2 losses wasn't good enough to get in the playoff. In the 14 model, definitely not the BCS model, but modern college football has allowed us to, kind of like a relationship, you can evolve and get better as long as you don't royally screw it up. You can mess up, you can have a bad moment, you can miss a big day, you can forget that it's her first day of her new job, or you can not notice a new haircut, but like, as long as you don't royally screw it up, you have a chance to recover, get better, evolve, and all those things. And I think for Texas here, too, it needs to be mentioned, they have a chance for some real grand gestures optically. Okay, like the control their own destiny thing is part of this. That's great that you have a chance to then go win the SEC and do all that. And like, you can win out and be good. But look at what it would require for Texas to do all that. That would mean they beat Georgia. That would mean they beat A&M. That would mean if you win the SEC, likely you're playing Alabama. You beat Alabama. I know it's crazy, but 2 lost Texas, I think, as an SEC champ, would get a bye in the college football playoff and be the highest-ranked team in that conference. So to give a final point on this, Week 1 takes are not real life. They're fun, they're knee-jerky, they're energetic, but what were we saying Week 1? Arch Manning sucks. Alabama, is Kalen DeBoer the right guy? How many more of those kind of losses can he have out there in Tuscaloosa? Florida State, hey, look, is Florida State going to win the ACC and make the playoff? And then we get into the month of November, Florida State, we're talking about who could be the next head coach there potentially, should they move on from Mike Norvell. We already believe that he, unfortunately, will not be the head coach there next year. Alabama, they found their footing, ranked number 4 in the Tuesday rankings. And Texas and Arch Manning found their rhythm, found their mojo, found their identity. Threw for over 300 yards against Vandy, over 300 yards against Mississippi State, did Arch Manning. This is where we are in college football. You can adapt and evolve and change in the expanded playoff. This is possible. Here's the thing. Go to 16 teams next year. I'm sure they'll go to like 36 teams in 10 years, whatever. Like, this is only going to become more and more of a thing to track. So Texas, just want to say it out loud. They could finish the highest-ranked SEC team in college football. And to tell someone that after the Florida game, they would look at you sideways and be like, what? Are you okay? What's wrong with you, brother? So, wild times. College football is the best thing on the face of planet Earth. And Texas, left for dead to the side of the highway at one point in time. They are very much alive, and they are very much in control of their own destiny. All right, we got Oklahoma Sooner quarterback John Mateer, nice enough to spend some time with us during the bye week. We asked Mateer about his hand. Does he think Dr. Shin knows how famous he is? And just the overall psyche of this team heading into the stretch where the Sooners have a chance to still make the college football playoff. Without further ado, here's our conversation with John Mateer. John, 1, appreciate making time. 2, I got to start with the hard-hitting stuff, brother. It looks like the flow is kept. Did we find a barber yet, Norman, man? Are we seeing someone consistently? What's the deal there?
Last bye week, I went to a really sweet lady, and she actually took me in on a Sunday. It was closed, and she let me get my haircut on Sunday, so I appreciated that. And, yeah, she did a good job.
Some perks, then, of being the starting quarterback at Oklahoma, it sounds like.
Yeah, there was a couple perks, yeah.
Find your way into a closed bar. It's a good deal. Find your way into a closed barbershop, man. Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, college football playoff rankings come out on Tuesday. Oklahoma's sitting there at 12 spot. What's the overall just psyche of this team heading in the month of November?
I think we all understand that it's early November, and that ranking is awesome for the people to see, and it gets people going. But there's a lot ahead of us, and we got to take care of business.
How about you, man? It seems like, especially with the hand and stuff, you just seem to get more and more confident each week. Like, how's the hand feeling overall for you, man? How are you feeling in general?
Yeah, the hand is good. It's been tough. I won't lie. There's a lot of trials that God has put me through, and I've become a better man on this side of it. But it was tough. It was tough there in the middle of it. Obviously, the play and people could see how I was playing, and it didn't really look like myself. But I felt I'm getting back to it, getting more confident, more comfortable, and knowing what I got to deal with my hand, and getting back to it.
Do you think Dr. Shin knows he's famous? Like, is he on social media like that? Does he understand the Shin sanity that he created here?
No, I don't, he told me he doesn't have any accounts. I'm pretty sure he told me that, but he knows. Like he knows. People are telling him, and he knows.
How real was the Chipotle story? Because like it was the Chipotle stuff, it was the Dr. Shin stuff. Like it was a saga and a half, dude. Was the Chipotle story real, or is that just message board and Twitter stuff going crazy?
No, that was me not realizing who I can trust and who I can't trust. It was real. I didn't think he would go and tell the whole world about it. It's not my favorite thing somebody's ever done on the other side of what I told him. But that's my fault. Like, shouldn't say anything. Shouldn't be just throwing my business out there. But yeah, that's real.
Okay, I just had to ask about that. Because you never end up picking it up on a message board. We got someone posing as Dr. Shin on a message board, and I'm like, I don't think Dr. Shin, but like...
Well, there's people posing on me on TikTok and Instagram, or not Instagram, but Facebook and all that. So there's a lot of accounts that posers everywhere, but it's all right,
But how's that been for you in general? Because this whole, spotlight on your career in Oklahoma and all those things, like how have you adjusted to that, brother?
It's been fun. There's a lot of I got DoorDash. I don't really go in public a whole lot to get food anymore. It's not that I don't enjoy talking to people, but it's sometimes, I need to chill and have my own space. But it's awesome. The fans they're great, and they recognize me and ask for a picture and tell me how much they appreciate me. It's all good stuff, and I appreciate it, having the influence and the attention that I get. It's awesome. But sometimes I just, need my own time.
Man's locked in. Man's locked in right now. It seemed like the whole locked in, brother, ahead of Tennessee game, man. It seemed like y'all came out with different energy, different swag. Was there any conversations in the locker room or during the week leading up to that game?
Yeah, I think it's just we got to get it done. Like when a man doesn't have a choice and they have to do something, there's another gear that we can all hit, we can all get to, and I think we got to it. I think we had a conversation as players ahead of the game, and we made a decision, and it's real important. I thought we all did a really good job.
Is that something that like you're doing during the week where it's like a players only meeting? As sure as much as you want to, but is that something that like was spurred on by the Ole Miss game, or where did that all come from for you?
I think we have our own players only meeting every night, every Friday night. Sorry. Before the game, and we really took advantage of it. Coach Kevin Wilson kind of called us all out and told us to make a decision, and so we did, and he hit our hearts and what we really want, and we took advantage of it on Friday night.
It's fun to watch, man. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see too, just like you getting more comfortable and the progress I'm sure that you feel like you've made from week one to now. I hear you talk a lot about your eyes being in the right spot. Is that like the biggest improvement for you, or walk people at home watching this that may not understand what that means, essentially what goes into that?
Yeah, it's the most important thing in my opinion, because you can't see all 11 of what the defense is doing. There's just not enough time on the play clock, and you can't just sit back there and but if my eyes are right on each play, I have a key, and I need to know the coverage, and I need to know what the defense is doing. And if there's a run read that I'm pulling, I need to know who to look at. And as long as my eyes are in the right spot, historically this year and last year, I've made good plays. It's typically not the physical, like I just can't do it. I found that, with my thumb, there's some more challenges that have came, but I still don't think it's a total drop off in my physical ability. I think so. As long as my eyes are good and my mind is thinking the right way and know what I'm seeing based on the film, that's what I mean when my eyes are good. It all trends. If my eyes are in the right spot, then my reads are going to be right. Like I shouldn't miss a read if my eyes are looking at the right thing, because either it's open or it's not. And I say that real simple. It's not that simple. It's a tough game, and you got last week we had 100,000 people yelling at me, so you add that into it, which was awesome. But there's a whole bunch of variables. So I know that if my eyes, I can control my eyes. I can control where I'm looking. So if I can control that, I can have a good shot.
You mentioned last week 100,000 people screaming at you, Neyland Stadium going crazy. They got the dark mode uniforms. You kind of strike me, John, as a little bit of a psycho. Like, you feed off that, brother? Like, is that kind of your deal where, like, hey, the bigger the moment, we're on the road, already people saying bad things about me? Is that you, or talk me through that?
I think it's a lot of us. I think we love it, man. And anybody playing in that atmosphere, it's sick. Like, it's what they say. It's what everybody talks about. Sorry, somebody walked in, but
you're great, man.
It was sick. So everybody, I think for them too. I mean, I would be so hyped playing in that game under that stadium. Like, that was lit. And so we were all real excited. Everybody on this side loves when people say bad things about us. It was awesome running out of the tunnel saying, middle fingers up. It was great.
That's electrifying. That's I've been on the sideline there before, and that stadium's like on top of you. So I can't imagine seeing right up there with the tall wall. Like, that thing is just, I'm sure it was rocking. Looked like it was rocking from the broadcasting.
Yeah, I don't know how they heard me. I don't know. And I don't know how to lose my voice, but
I will say you quieted them down a little bit there at the end of that thing. I saw a lot of people saw it. There was a little hush hush going on.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really quiet when I did that.
I'm sure the good folks that traveled for that one appreciated it. Last question here for you, brother. What's the best advice you've gotten this season?
I think a lot of it has been not a direct quote, but what God has taught me through my hand and through just like not doing, like, everything that I thought how it was going to go is how it was going. And then I break my hand and here we are, so it's been wild. It's been a wild ride, but I just learned that I believe I can overcome more challenges than most people. And therefore God is going to give me harder challenges than most people. And I know I have a platform to spread his word and to show toughness and show character. And so he's not going to fail me. He's not going to put me in a situation that I can't overcome. And if I can overcome what he's given me in my own mind and what I think, then I can overcome what another person is throwing at me, what a defense is throwing at me. So a lot of toughness, mental toughness for myself. I think that's what I've learned. A lot of good people around that have helped me, but that's what I've learned.
One, I think that's phenomenal. Two, I was ready for like some Jaren Kanak advice. I mean, he seemed like a guy's cat to me, dude. I was ready for him. He gave me some wisdom, and I was good to go from it. Is he as funny as he is on Twitter in real life?
Yes, he is. He's hilarious.
That's good.
It's good for the people.
Good for the people, man. Well, we appreciate you jumping on our show.
Yeah,
it's always good for the people, and appreciate your time during the bye week, man. We will keep up with you down the way, man. Thanks again for your time.
No doubt. Yeah, appreciate you, brother.
Great stuff there from John Mateer. I knew it. I knew Jaren Kanak was funny, dude. You're too funny on Twitter to not be funny in real life, is my take on that. Some people are just kind of like keyboard funny, and they have a good photo library of memes and GIFs and whatnot. But like Jaren Kanak, you can tell dude's real deal funny. So good to get that confirmed, as well as hearing John Mateer talk about his eyes. I thought that was really insightful. So Oklahoma on the bye week. That's why we were able to get John Mateer on the show. Let's do a little bye week check-in for the folks out there in Norman. Real quick, though, before we do that, make sure you're subscribed. We just had John Mateer on the show. We're talking Sooners. We're talking everyone in college football year-round. We don't have a bye. We don't have any breaks on the show. So with that being the case, make sure you're locked in, because Oklahoma has got a lot in front of them right now when it comes to their college football playoff aspirations. Number 12 in the rankings when they dropped on Tuesday. Here's where Oklahoma is right now during the bye week, in my estimation. You're right where you wanted to be going into your second bye, no? In the hunt, some momentum, quarterback getting back healthier. That's all I think you would have asked for when you rewind the clock back to media days and you asked an Oklahoma fan, hey, where do you want to be on November 6th of 2025 when it comes to Oklahoma and their college football playoff aspirations? Would it be nice to be undefeated? Sure. I think most reasonable people in Norman are assuming, yeah, it's probably not going to be the case with what last year was, but if we could just be in the hunt, JD, we're cool with that. Right now, you got at Bama, Missouri, and LSU standing between you and a 10-2 record. Now, we did this whole thing on the show already. I don't know 110% if 10-2 gets you into the college football playoff, but I'll tell you what, Wouldn't hate it if I was an Oklahoma fan. I wouldn't push back against it. And I think also with how difficult Oklahoma's schedule is, they'd be one of those teams that I think if they go 10-2, heck, even if they go 9-3 and get some dominoes to fall their way, I think your college football playoff hopes are intact. Obviously, be much more ideal to go 10-2 than 9-3. 9-3, you're kind of Hail Marying yourself into the college football playoff if you can find your way in. But going back to the whole bye week take with the bye week check-in with Oklahoma, don't look now. Oklahoma might have found a run game. What was the thing we said post-Michigan about Oklahoma? I know it was a long time ago, but post-Michigan we said, hey, you got a dude at quarterback. Hey, that defense is electrifying. But if you can't find a way to run the football with someone not named Johnny Paycheck, we call him on this show, you're going to get beat by somebody that shouldn't beat you. Right now, last 3 games, Oklahoma has had a 100-yard rusher in each of their last 3. Xavier Robinson's been awesome, been exactly what they need, downhill, pick up yards, set up 2nd and 6, set up 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. Just doing that in itself maximizes the entire arsenal of what Oklahoma has. Because you love Jean Mateer, right? Especially the way he gets more and more healthy and that hand's getting right like he's talking about in that interview. You love the weapons. Jaron Kanik, funny, off the field, really good on the field. Deion Burks, dog for you. Like, you got a lot of pieces personnel-wise for Oklahoma to throw the football downfield. But if you can just key on that as a defense, you're going to have problems being as effective as you need to be go be a college football playoff team. So you keep hearing like, hey, good things happen to good people. Yeah, good things happen to people that run the football. All right? That's the place that Oklahoma is starting to, I guess, move into, if you will. That's kind of their next phase they're evolving into. And I think, honestly, they're evolving into that spot at the exact right time. Because here's the deal. Bama, as huge as that game will be, and as good as Alabama is, Alabama's not been great stopping the run. Giving up 4.5 a pop this year, dude. That's not like, stonewall kind of stuff. So if you're Oklahoma, you can run the football, you can score with Bama. Okay, we'll see. You can score with Bama, and you got that defense on your side. We'll see. We'll see would be my take there. The Missouri game, do we have a true freshman quarterback playing for the Tigers in that spot? Again, I don't know, but I wouldn't want a true freshman quarterback rolling out there against that defense. I digress. LSU, it'll be the last game of the season. With where LSU's at right now emotionally and the fact they don't have a head coach right now, Frank Wilson, my bad. You don't have a current permanent head coach with Frank Wilson having the interim tag on him. I wonder where LSU's at mentally going into that game. And if Oklahoma's sitting there with 9 wins and they got to win that game to be in the college football playoff or feel good about making the college football playoff, I think you got to feel pretty excited about that proposition. So it's all in it. Oklahoma's been very hot and cold. Like, we've had different things we've said about Oklahoma that have been, hey, man, if you can run the football, they're going to get beat by somebody they shouldn't get beat by. Where's the pass game at? Then you beat Tennessee, and we're all like, we're back in on Oklahoma. I'm somewhere in the middle right now, but I believe there is a path for Oklahoma to get to 10-2, which is what I just laid out for you. And so with all the things kind of starting to come together for Oklahoma, doesn't it feel like they're in position to crescendo at the right time? Run game is working. John Mateer's getting healthy. Defense coming off of a game where you just turned over Joey Aguilar, it felt like 17 times. R. Mason Thomas with the run of the year on the defensive side of the football. The stiff arm heard around the world. There's a lot there for Oklahoma to be excited about and to be believing in. They are, I think, at the right time getting the right momentum behind them, the wind in their sails. So is Oklahoma in the college football playoff team? Listen, I don't know, but I have a very difficult time believing 10-2 Oklahoma with a win at Alabama would keep them out. Just my own take on this. So Oklahoma, that's the bye week check-in for you in the comment section. Sooner fans, let me know how you're feeling confidence-wise when it comes to those college football playoff hopes that are still very much so alive. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to be alive if you're an Oklahoma fan. It's a beautiful thing to be alive, period, today, because we got an electric Week 11 college football slate, among other great things, to be a reason to be alive today. But as we always do, to wrap up our final full show of the week. Now, we have content year-round, week-round. There's more content coming from this show, so make sure you're subscribed. But to finish the final full show of the week, we're going to give you our predictions for this Week 11 slate. And I'm not doing that by myself. No. I'm doing that with the man, the myth, the legend, a man who's got not one but 2 all Sun Belt tags to his name on the resume, producer of the Hard Count, Caden Smith. Caden, how we doing, brother?
We're doing great, man. We're getting to the home stretch.
Crazy.
They
It's
remember
absolutely crazy.
They remember November. I heard those words for the first time, that phrase for the first time, from Scott Satterfield, current Cincinnati head coach, and man, it stuck with me, and man, it continues to be true. A lot of close conference title races, teams trying to make the playoff. We'll remember November, man. That's what your legacy will be at the end of the day.
It's gross that we're already talking about this. Like, you and I are looking into, hey, are we going to get on the road for the playoff? Hey, national titles in Miami. We need to start looking into flights for that. Like, it feels like we were just in Atlanta for media days, and it feels like we were just in Atlanta for the national title game last year, dude. And we're already looking down the barrel of this home stretch. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it feels like yesterday that we were talking to John Mateer before the season, and now we're talking to him during the season. Like, he has so many games now under his belt as a Sooner. Man, it flies by for sure. The beginning of the year, I'm not going to lie, was like I was a little overwhelmed. I was like, dang, because there were so many good matchups. And like after week 1, week 2, week 3, I was like, man, like I feel like we just had like the whole season happen. And now you blink and it's November and everything's kind of a little bit more set in stone. So it's been a fun year, man. Fun postseason on the way, fun conference title races. It's that time, man. It's run the ball weather.
Run the ball weather.
Can't complain.
Neck rolls, hoodies, all that, man. All that. Well, let's do this, Cato, for this Week 11 slate. Let's call our shot for some upsets we're watching here. You want to take the first swing at this one when it comes to upsets here? You got one you feel strongly about? Go ahead and get us started hot, brother.
Yeah, man. You look at this slate, there's a lot of upset potential, but there's not a ton of games that I feel like are actually like on the block. Like I'm not calling any upset wins. But if I had to pick one for this week, I got to go with Iowa hosting Oregon.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, man. I mean, if a team were to get upset, I think it would be Oregon going to Kinnick Stadium. That line's at -6 in favor of the Ducks, according to BetMGM, which is you would think it'd be a wider margin, right? But this Iowa team's good, man. They're the most underrated team in the country, in my opinion. Happy the CFP put a little 20 next to their rankings there and showed them some respect. I think the home field advantage plus the common opponent of Indiana is going to make this game close. And I think that's why the line is this close. I mean, you talk about an Iowa team that held Indiana to 20 points.
Yeah.
You talk about an Indiana team that had a formula against Oregon that worked on the defensive side of the ball, at least, that I think Iowa can very much replicate, especially with a home crowd at their back on the third downs in those big moments. I think that Iowa is better than many people think, like I mentioned before. But I think Oregon, too, the thing that scares me about this is Oregon knows how big of a spot this is for them as far as where they see themselves in the rankings as well. The rest of their opponents, Iowa's one of 3 opponents they play the rest of the year that has 6 wins right now and is also ranked and is trying to get in the CFP. So it's an interesting spot for both teams. But I think Iowa is just frankly better than most people think, and that's why I think they can put Oregon on upset watch this weekend. I wouldn't pick for it to happen, but Kirk Ferentz at home, the formula, the common opponent of Indiana.
The wave.
Yeah, the way. Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's all there for Iowa, I think. I think that they're in a good spot at home right now, and I think they have a little chip on their shoulder as well.
Is there any team in college football that has suffered more optically from social media than Iowa?
Yeah, man, it's hard to say. I mean, you look at Kirk Ferentz year after year, and he's going to get his 8 wins. Like, he is consistently getting 8 wins every year, and it doesn't get talked about enough because of the lack of offense and Iowa just not being flashy.
Like, Iowa's not cool, quote unquote, in the eyes of the college football public. I think Iowa's cool. I think the wave is cool, and Kinnick Stadium's cool. But just what you said, they're not scoring points. It's almost a joke. There was that joke a couple years ago, where it's like the drive to averaging 25 points a game because that was what they had to score to keep their OC and keep a job. Like, that whole narrative around Iowa seems to stick so heavily because of social media and because it's easy to take jabs at Iowa when they're not scoring points. But, like, 1, this Iowa team is scoring over 30 points a game. 2, they're always playing great defense.
Oh, yeah.
Always. Like, they held Indiana to 20 points. This is not a fugazi operation in Iowa. So I love that pick when it comes to potential upset you're tracking. I'm going to go one in our backyard here, Cato.
Uh-oh.
What do we talk about here, man, with fired head coaches?
I thought about this one, man.
You get a little jolt, a little caffeine boost to the system. I keep it. It is a home alone week across college football with fired head coaches, with LSU and Auburn, and maybe being a little bit frisky. I love Diego Pavia. I love Clark Lee. I love Eli Stowers. I love Nashville. Also, I love Nashville. I love the whole anchor down thing, but Ashton Daniels, no more head coach, and Hugh Freeze, DJ Durkin running the show. That front 7 of Auburn's good, man. We saw what Texas did up front to Vanderbilt. Said, fudge your misdirection. We're coming in your living room. I have to kick that door down, dude. I think Auburn plus 6.5, a little bit cheeky. Let down spot for Vandy after the tough loss to Texas, kind of an emotional, empty the tank kind of situation you would think to come back in that game. Now you come back home. Auburn plus 6.5. I think they could pull off the upset at home, or not at home, in Nashville rather, Cato.
Yeah, we've talked about the interim head coach ordeal, how that works. Maybe this team has some new life, has some new wrinkles to the offense we haven't seen yet. I think there's just not a lot of film either on a quarterback not named Jackson Arnold. And you just look at Auburn's full tape, so I think they can use that to their advantage as well. Vanderbilt, it's time to show if you're like one of those teams that can win the game they're supposed to now. You know what I mean? They've gotten to this point by beating teams they weren't supposed to, and now all of a sudden they're in a position where they have to defend their home turf and fend off teams to try to stay in that college football playoff conversation. Very interesting case study because we know Diego Pavia has Hugh Freeze's number, Auburn's number, and no Freeze in the mix. Maybe this is the difference. Like maybe the lack of Hugh Freeze on the sideline is what gets to Diego Pavia. I think that fact alone is going to have me put a little bit of money on Auburn, right? Come on, like maybe it was Freeze the whole time.
Dude, could you imagine if that's how it goes?
Yeah, he's just like his respective kryptonite. You know what I mean?
Like just looking in the mirror like, gosh dang it. That's what it was the whole time?
Yeah, like if Hugh Freeze ends up somewhere else, like whoever that rival is, I think should just get Diego Pavia on the staff. So at least one time a year you can have him on the opposite sideline and the kryptonite, can continue to be that for a one Hugh Freeze.
Just bring him in.
Bring him through, man.
I love that. Well, we'll see. It'll be fun, man. We'll see. You got any predictions you want to get off your chest here? Anything you feel strongly about, Cato, before we I guess we'll trade takes here, but you have any you want to get us started with here when it comes to predictions, not upsets, rather?
Yeah, man, and I think my first one is stemming from a segment we've had in this show about Notre Dame. I think it's going to get ugly in South Bend this weekend. I think they're hearing you. They're hearing the nation. They're looking at the college football playoff rankings, and they know the only superpower they have right now the rest of their schedule is to blow the doors off of teams. And I think this Navy team is the highest potential for them to blow the doors off of somebody, and I think they're going to take advantage of it. 26.5 points is very high, especially against a team who runs the ball that much. But I could just see the game plan for Notre Dame being, hey, we are going to sell out to stop this run. We're going to get off the field, and then we're going to put up points. I think they're going to try to win as resoundingly as possible. I think they can win by 26.5. I would lean towards the over, even though that's really high. But, yeah, man, I think Notre Dame just puts their foot absolutely on the gas this weekend and tries to show the nation that they're not just any 10-2 team. Like, we're an Indiana kind of operation when it comes to blowing the doors off teams. So maybe the clock works in favor. I think the triple option kind of just doing what it does and shedding minutes off the clock is a good play there. So, yeah, I could see it going either way. But I think regardless, I think they reach for that mark and ultimately get it, I think.
But they did this a year ago. They were in this spot a year ago, and they played Navy, and, like, some people, myself included, are like, hey, could Navy be frisky here? Like, Navy.
Joel Klatt picked them outright.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was people that have, like, legit credentials saying, no, this is going to be a tough game, and then Notre Dame just said,
1 second.
I'm going to boss up real quick.
Yeah.
And they have more firepower offensively, I would say, this year, Cato.
Definitely. I think this Navy team, too, was undefeated, and now they got humbled by a North Texas team that has an awesome aerial attack, and they didn't do anything that this Notre Dame team can't do, right, with C.J. Carr and the weapons really coming into form. So also Notre Dame, too, coming off of a weird game against Boston College. They didn't look like themselves in the first half of that one for sure. Jeremiah Love rips off a 90-plus yard run again. That he made that his kind of signature this year. So, yeah, man, I think it gets ugly in South Bend, and I think if there was one team in the country I wouldn't want to be this weekend, it's Navy. I don't want to be them.
I like that take a lot. I think that's one to track without question, man. I think Notre Dame, Navy, extra juice for the old Irish there coming back home. Like you just said, the spot with them not playing their best against Boston College, for Marcus Freeman, that's all I need. That's all I need to get the boys rolling.
That plus the CFP, you don't need any motivation, you know? The storylines are creating themselves right now for Notre Dame and in-house for sure.
Let's go cover, fellas. Let's go cover here, Irish. Nothing against the troops or the mids, but yeah, let's go get it done here, Irish. Let's go keep those college football playoff hopes very much so intact and make sure we, most importantly, we make the man Cato right with his prediction there. Hey, so if you want to be at that game in South Bend or you want to be at the game in Lubbock, which we're about to talk about here in a matter of moments, Texas Tech, BYU, big juice in that one. The best way to do that is using our friends over at Game Time, the safe, fast, effective, affordable, attractive, energy boosting, infectious way to buy tickets in a positive way. Game Time, when you buy their tickets using their app, you can view the seat that you're going to sit in before you buy the ticket. You can know what you're looking at. You're not going to sit behind a Jumbotron. You're not going to sit behind some random cement pole. You get to make sure you have a good view from your seat before you buy, and that's a beautiful thing. So listen carefully. Save all of us money right now. Go ahead, download the Game Time app. Okay? Use code HARDCOUNT. That's HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code HARDCOUNT. $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Whatever game you want to get to, Game Time is going to make sure you get there for the best price and have the best seat. All right, so make sure you lock that in with Game Time. Swipe, tap, ticket using Game Time. Great stuff there by the good folks out there. You know what I'm saying?
Might have to give them a look this weekend, man. You got Auburn coming to town.
I don't know.
I haven't been to a Vanderbilt game yet. Could be the weekend for it.
Cato on West End. People
I
are chanting.
Was there for college game day. I looked at Game Time. I'm not gonna lie, it was a pricey ticket, and that speaks to how hot of a ticket was. You know, that weekend with college game day, Missouri in the house. But we might get our redemption this weekend.
Maybe this is the one. Good little price over there.
Could
the folks
be
at Game
it.
Time. Cato, a game that you and I will not be at. Our very own Zach Herbstreit will be at.
Let's go.
BYU Texas Tech.
Oh yeah,
Gonna be awesome. Now here's my thing. I have been the BYU doubter all year long.
Yes,
and I've worn that. It's funny. Blonde hair, blue eyes, you would think that I would lean towards the BYU side of things with just given the stereotypical BYU fan and BYU student body. However, I've been like, Cougs, I don't know. I respect you. Kalani Sitake, absolute guy, man, when it comes to what he's been as a head coach. Bear Bachmeier is one of the funnest players in college football. Does that change this week? No, Cato. Texas Tech's about to roll in this one, brother. I'm calling my shot. Texas Tech wins. Texas Tech covers. We come in here on Sunday, and it's like, man, that's the Texas Tech that we saw early on in the year. Baron Morton's looking healthy. The weapons, I just think the weapons are too much for what BYU has in the back end. And I worry about BYU stopping the run. Gave up 200-plus against Utah. Also, that front seven of Texas Tech, BYU's never seen a group like that. Bear Bachmeier, I love him. I think he's phenomenal. I love the heck out of the fact that he wears number 47 and eats ice cream before the games. But Big David Bailey about to be hunting this Saturday in Lubbock, Cato. I think Texas Tech rolls. I think they cover that margin comfortably. What say you about the Red Raiders?
Yeah, man. I mean, they're the cover kings. I feel like I've tried to pick them on upset watch several times this year, and to no avail. Like they always make it happen. It might start off close, but eventually Texas Tech does their thing, shows off that they're the wagon that they are, and wins by a big margin. I think BYU has as good of a shot as anyone because Kalani Sitake does have this team just absolutely dialed and ready for the biggest moments. Their wins are not all pretty. You talked about how much they gave up in rushing yards, but at the end of the day, fourth quarter, when it's crunch time, overtime, whatever it may be, they're clutch. And I'm curious if they can keep this game close enough for those traits to be put on display. Because that doesn't do you any good when you're down 21. Maybe you can fight and lead a comeback, but they've never put themselves out of a position where they're not in striking distance, no matter how good, bad, or indifferent they start. So, yeah, man, you got to lean towards this Texas Tech team covering at 10.5 because it's what they do. They're at home. But if anyone could do it, I think it's Bear Bachmeier. So we'll see, man. I'm rooting for Bear. I'm rooting for BYU in this one because they're just such a fun watch, one of my favorite four-box teams of the year. And I'm super happy just in general that they're getting this stage at least to perform on. And I was very wrong. This is going to transition into my pick. I thought last week was game of the week was going to be Cincinnati doing their thing, having college game day up there at Utah, and that game was not good. It was not. So hoping this one's better, but if I had to pick my game of the week this week, which one's going to be the one we talk about on Sundays, JD? I think Texas A&M and Missouri is going to be an awesome game. I think that spread right at 6 points is right where it should be, and I think the biggest factor here is the bye weeks for each team. I think Texas A&M having a bye week, obviously huge for them. They've been rolling. They've been going through the SEC gauntlet and doing their thing. But more so for Missouri, when you have a quarterback making his first career start in Matt Zollers and having an entire extra week to prep, I think that alone, with the personnel that Missouri has and the great offensive and defensive minds they have that can support Matt Zollers in this journey at home, I think they have had enough runway this week to really make this one close to start the game, and then we get in the second half, we'll see what happens. I think A&M has proven that they can blow you out, yes, but they've also played in some close games. I think the defensive talent, specifically up front for Missouri, can keep this thing close. And I think the weapons around Mott Zollers with an extra week of preparation can also keep this one close, man. So stay away from me as far as betting because, it's. I think these are two pretty closer like roster teams than people will probably give them credit for. Like Coach Drinkwitz has brought in a ton of talent there. And I think A&M not quite being the model of consistency despite winning every game they've played in. I think that keeps this one close, and I think that's my game of the week candidate. So really looking forward to watch that game.
And in the Show Me State? Are you kidding me?
Come on.
With a crane in the end zone, bro? You're telling me it doesn't get the quarterback a little bit rattled driving into a construction site? We're trying to go win the freaking game. Marshall Reed and Company, we're looking at Bob the Builders in the end zone. I'm just saying, just something to think about. I like that, Cato. I'm with you. Very, very frisky, weird vibes in that one, with it being in coma, with it being Matt Zollers, the true freshman quarterback from Mizzou. Going to be fun. I hate that this is my next prediction because I'd love for this team just to get right and be who we all know they should be and could be.
This is about LSU, isn't it?
No, I have that written down as well. I'll give you a little two-pack here. I'll go where I'm going to go with this first, and I'm going to go back to that, and I'll throw it to you to close us out here. Georgia-Mississippi State is going to be a really good game, and it shouldn't be by nature of how much talent Georgia has, but Georgia is going to Georgia. They're going to have some issues on the back end. Brennan Thompson is one of the fastest human beings playing college football. Anthony Evans against his former team now in Georgia. Blake Shapen, dime dealer extraordinaire. Maybe, just maybe, they got some more juice after winning a close game against Arkansas. Mississippi State is frisky as all get out. They're at the crib. Cowbells clanging. Georgia is rolling into this one just having made a living off of winning close games. And Georgia is a better team. Georgia will win this game. This is one I could see going to overtime. I could see this being a Parker Woodring walk-off field goal for the Dogs in Starkville. This is going to be, I think, the game of the week, Cato, in my opinion, with Georgia and those Bulldogs playing the Bulldogs out there in Stark Vegas.
So funny. I'll get my last one out the way.
Oh, okay.
Because it's that
Cool.
game.
Let's
and it's
go,
a very
dude.
different take than yours. I think Georgia is going to have their strongest showing of the season.
Really?
In this game. I think Mississippi State, coming off of a nice high, getting your first SEC win of the season, you're celebrating. I watched that game, man, and I cannot believe they won it. Like, it was them and Arkansas was just cinema, just two very evenly matched teams going after it. And on the other side of things, I think Georgia, they beat Florida. They did it the typical Georgia fashion. And I think as we head into this month of November, I think Kirby Smart's telling his guys, hey, man, like we got to lock in. Like, we can't keep doing this. I think Georgia is going to play their best month of football this month. I think they're going to try to get it started off right and win resoundingly. You talk about the talent, man. I think Georgia's talent in the month of November is going to show up more and more and more for them. Mississippi State's good, yes, but when you talk about the Brennan Thompsons and the weapons and the quarterback, they don't have anything that Florida doesn't have, and they stifled them pretty well in the second half. I don't think they have nearly as much of a run game either. I think the offense will play better. I think Georgia tries to make a statement here. I like Georgia to win. I like Georgia to cover, and I like them to have their first performance in a while where we say, okay, that's Georgia hitting their ceiling. They're not playing with their food anymore, and they're out there doing their thing. I think they know they have Texas on the horizon after this, who can sit at home and watch this game because they have a bye week, and they know they have to play their best ball heading into that game against Texas, and I think they look to do so in this one. I'm
just ready for Kirby, win or lose, to come to the podium, that post-game situation, talk about this league. It's hard to win in this league, life in the SEC. It's what it is. Every game's close. Every game come down to possession, blocking, tackling. It's going to be fun. Either way, whether Georgia wins convincingly or it's close, either way it's going to be fun.
I thought Kirby was in the studio for a second there with that impression. Our podcast audience might be – they got Materia and Kirby on the episode? Wow.
How did they swing this?
How'd they swing it, man?
And why is Kirby not on the show for more than a few seconds? What's going on for the podcast
I'll call my shot,
audience?
too. We see Kirby Smart's tongue on the way out of Starkville.
So awesome, dude. So it's the best celebration in college football.
It's sicko. It's some sicko stuff, man. I love it. Like, I want my head coach to be a sicko. That's the safety in him, man. That's the Bloody Tuesday in him. This is a guy that doesn't mess around, and I think he's put that on display a couple times this season, to say the least.
I love that. I love it. Yeah, taste buds out and about for a 1 K. Smart in Starkville. Well, my last one, Cato, we touched on it for a second there, but LSU, I think we get some Matt Berry action in this one, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Little update.
You're watching a game. Maybe it's not Bama LSU. Maybe you're more invested in a different game in that specific window. But you get a break from Matt Berry. You get a little game break. We got madness in Tuscaloosa.
Madness.
We got madness in Tuscaloosa. We got a little frisky Bayou Bengals. Garrett Nussmeier wheeling and dealing. I keep on saying this because I don't know how many times I'll be able to say this going forward with what we have ahead of the old LSU Tigers. Big Home Alone vibes. Parents are gone. They've gone to France. Joe Sloan, Brian Kelly no longer employed by Louisiana State University. So what does that mean? Gumbo Gunslinger, man. Loosen up the wing.
Hopefully you're loosening up everything.
Fudge it, Trey Green down there somewhere. Maybe we commit to the run game a little bit with our running back coach now being the head coach and a guy from the offensive line, Alex Atkins, calling the plays. I think we see frisky LSU. I still think Bama wins and Bama covers, but I think that first half, you're sitting there watching and Matt Berry's giving you the updates. You're like, hang on a freaking second. LSU, left for dead LSU, is giving Bama a game in Tuscaloosa? Okay, we'll see. But that's my take there when it comes to my final thought for Week 11 on a prediction sense for a Bama LSU, Cato.
Yeah, man. Every game starts off close, so they'll have that.
They all start close.
They'll have that going for them. Yeah, they could throw the first punch here, sure. I think that I like the Alex Atkins point. I think Alabama hasn't quite showed that they're a perfectly well-rounded team, and I think this interim head coaching staff with maybe some different minds and decision makers could exploit some of those weaknesses early in this game. But yeah, I wouldn't even put this game being close past them. Like, I think Alabama isn't like the run defense, the run offense. Like, the LSU defense still has a lot of talent, and the thing that's given them the most problem this year is a mobile quarterback, and Ty Simpson isn't exactly that. He's not going to kill you with his legs. He can evade, make some plays, and scramble and stuff. But yeah, man, we'll see. I'm staying away from this one. The interim head coach thing just gives me the heebie-jeebies. So I could see it being close. I could see it being a blowout. But hopefully we hear Matt Berry's sweet tones coming through the TV when this game starts, and we'll see, man. Bayou Bengals playing for pride. Right, playing for pride. I've told you to take your allegiance to Texas A&M since you predicted them to make the playoff.
Hit the portal.
You won't listen to me. You're holding on to the Bayou Bengals, and I'm sure the people in Baton Rouge respect the hell out of it.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We got to be right about something at some point here with LSU outside of Week 1, but the plot thickens. Yeah, hopefully we hear Arizona State alumni Matt Berry give us some juice. Walter Cronkite's School of Journalism, I believe it is, or broadcasting. Someone from ASU, correct me there. Cato, great stuff as always, man. Great week.
You're a fountain of knowledge, and you learn something new every day. Shout out Matt Berry, getting some love here.
Shout out Matt Berry, and shout out the freaking Arizona State Sun Devils holding it down and trying to hold on to their head coach as well, with his name circulating different hot boards. Speaking of which, if you want to get some hot board updates, get a membership to on3.com. Got some specials going on right now. No time like the present to be dialed, and the present has a lot of wild things going on the coaching carousel side of things, so make sure you have a membership over at on3.com. And also, just double check you're subscribed here. We appreciate y'all making the show what it is. For Caden Smith and the ones, the twos, the Mike, y'all have yourselves a tremendous Week 11 of the college football season. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all